Good day once again, everyone, and welcome back to our lesson with regards to 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world. Okay, so this morning we will be studying Module 3, which is the landscape of Philippine fiction. So, if there is one thing Filipinos loved, it is a good dramatic story. Okay, Filipinos can easily find themselves in one of the characters whom they watch on TV. Like, okay, I'm just sorry. What would it be? Okay, there. So I will just be showing to you some of the pictures of the past teleseries, like here, which is entitled Minsan Lang Kita Ibigin. We have Pangako Sa'yo, On the Wings of Love. Okay. Dahil may isang ikaw, magkaribal, maraklara, she-wolf, pangako sa'yo, budoy. Okay, these are some of the teleserye or what we have watched for the past years. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look with the story of Mara Clara. So this was the first version of Mara Clara, starring Miss Judy Ann Santos and Miss Gladys Reyes. Okay. So it talks about the optimistic little girl who is tormented by evil relatives, the poor rich girl who has everything but can never be as optimistic as the poor protagonist. Okay. That's why one of the most popular telenovelas in Philippine television is Mara Clara. Okay, so this is now the new version of Mara Clara, starring Miss Catherine Bernardo and the other one, Julia Montes. Okay, so I hope that if you have watched this particular teleserie, so I believe that you have also have seen how these two actresses have portrayed their prowess in acting. So, no matter how much Filipinos see themselves and their situations in popular TV shows, the fact remains that these are all products of fiction. Okay. So, what are fiction or what is fiction? So, fiction, these are stories with imaginary characters. Second, they are product of creative minds. The third one, mostly fantasy and unreal in nature. Okay, so these are the three important facts about the definition of fiction. Okay, in Philippine literature, there are many stories that have shaped the way Filipinos read and view their surroundings. And a good example of this is Jose Rizal's books. We have the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. So these novels are a long and sustained critical story about the Spanish rule. Another good example is through short stories such as the ones which will be discussed or I will be giving later on. So what are the common techniques used by these short stories? Okay, let's now proceed to the techniques. The first one is okay, dealing with the character. So fiction, just like any good story, starts with great character. So just imagine a story without characters. So do you believe it will be appealing? It will be it will arouse your interest to read? So no, right? So the first thing to consider is the character because the character of the story is the one you can relate with. Okay, like for example, you are wealthy like that. So of course you can relate to the elite. or to the wealthy characters in the story. But if you're poor like me, so you can relate to their character, their portrayal of their character as well. Another one, the ones you conversed with. Okay, like what I have experienced before when we are watching like teleserye. So my grand my Lola, my grandparent, was always like she is conversing with the the character or the actress or the actor in the story as if she was part of the story. Okay. And the third one is the one you listen to the thoughts of. Of course, you will be depending how that character will take his role in that particular story. So this character and the way he or she changes as the story progresses become the driving force of fiction. The reason that you as a reader will be interested or disinterested as you read. The characters may be kind, rich, confusing, annoying, bratty, complicated, ever changing, and so on. So, in the end, the character of a short story still holds the key to whether the fiction will be good or not. Okay, let's have some of the characters. We have the so characters could be the people or animals, things, imaginary, etc., who take part in the action of the story. So we have the round character. Okay, so they are convincing and true to life. We have also the dynamic character. Okay, it undergoes some type of change in the story. Okay, there is change in his characteristic later on. We have also the flat character, stereotyped, shallow, often symbolic. Okay, when I say shallow, so from the first part of the story till the end, so it's just the same. The character is just the same, or the things that he or she is portraying is just the same. We have also static character does not change in the course of the story. Okay, so static and flat are connected. Okay, so like for example, for static, like for signal, so when we say static, you are not receiving the highest amount of signal. That's why it's static. Okay, it remains the same. Okay, so those are some of the types of characters in a given fiction. So we have also methods of characterization. So number one is, how do we figure out what type of people the characters are? Okay, so the characters own words and actions. Okay, that's the first one. The character's own words and actions. Of course, we will be basing their characterization by their words and actions. Second one is the direct quotes from the story, like he was nice, like someone you meet in your dreams. Also, the physical appearances. If he or she is sexy, if she's beautiful, pretty, lovely, handsome, name it all. So reaction of other characters as well, and characters' thought. So these are the methods of characterization. The character's own words and actions, direct quotes from the story, reaction of other characters, physical appearances, and the character's thoughts. Okay, let's move on to the symbolism. Sometimes characters also serve as symbols in the story. What is symbolism in fiction? So a symbol represents an idea, quality, or concept larger than itself. So let's proceed to the examples. A journey can symbolize life. Water may represent a new beginning. Why? Because every time, like for example, in the sea, when you're walking along the beach, So it is not the same water that you have seen or that you have spilled, okay, on that particular time. But on and on, it changes. Okay, black can represent evil or death, and we know that. Then a lion could be a symbol of courage, as they say that the lion is the king of the jungle. So what is symbolic in Scarlet Ibis? Okay, so it's your part later on to search about that, the scarlet. Okay, so let's have a simple gaming. So guess me. Okay, so what is this? I believe that you have already encountered this in the Chinese literature, and it talks about yin yang. Okay, so yin yang talks about the balance. Okay, the balance of truth or good and evil. Okay, because so the white there represents pureness or light. The dark, the black one symbolizes the dark side. Okay? So there should be balance. Like for example, in a day, right? So you cannot say that it's a day or one day if you haven't experienced the nighttime and the daytime. Okay, so that's the explanation for that. Okay, how about this? So it's a snake. What's the symbolism of snake? So long time ago, of course, during the creation, we believe that Satan or Lucifer used this thing to what? To tempt our first parents, Adam and Eve. Okay, so it symbolizes temptation, evil, or darkness. Okay, you can name some. Okay, how about the third one? So it is a cross. So what is the symbolism of a cross? So I believe that the cross reminds us of the great sacrifice of our Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, so he received the mocked and everything, okay, and the sins of the world. And of course, for us mortals, so it is really very hard, right? When you experience such dilemma or such happening in your life. So we should be grateful. Just in John 3:16 says there, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So we should be thankful for the cross at Calvary. Okay, how about this? The rose. So rose represents beauty. Okay, pureness, if it's white, represents also loved, romance. Okay, I'm sure that we are still in the love month, right? So it's still February. So this is somewhat relevant to us right now. How about this? So this is what? The the bamboo. So the bamboo is somewhat, it represents us as Filipinos because we have the literature which is entitled Pliant Like the Bamboo like by R.V. Maliari. So it means that we as Filipinos are really flexible. So whatever circumstances, whatever troubles, whatever calamities that will devastate us, we will not give up because we are flexible. So that is the symbolism of the bamboo. Okay, an example of fiction that we have here is The Dead Stars. So this is authored by Miss Paz Marquez Benitez. So Miss Paz Marquez Benitez is a Filipina short story writer who was influential figure to many Filipino writers in the contemporary era. And national artist Francisco Arceliana dubbed her the mother of us all, as she is one of the very first Filipino short story writers to write in English. So she is Miss Pasparcus Benitez was really gifted with writing. Excuse me, because she was branded as one of the first Filipino short story writers to write in English. So writing English is really a must. And somewhat they look up to you long time ago when you can speak and write in English, because this is not really our first language. It is considered as our second language. So let's see some parts, but I want you to read the whole story, okay? Because this was a very, very interesting story. So we can learn from it, even though it composes what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pages from page 26 to page 38. Okay. But of course, I will be summarizing it up through using the free tag pyramid, like what we have studied. So the first one is the exposition. So looking through the story, the first part goes like this. Carmen asked Don Julian about Alfredo, and Esperanza at Julian's residence. Alfredo recalls how he encountered with Julia Salas. So that's the exposition. Then for the rising action, he had moved to the residence of Judge Del Valle with Don Julian. He was meeting with Julia Salas. He called her Mrs. Del Valle all the moment, which caused him to be embarrassed. Coming to the room of the judge often became. Then he discovered that despite his involvement with Esperanza, he was unhappy with Julia. Whoa. So are we now getting the flow of the story? So it's all about a love story long, long time ago. And the climax, Alfredo picked up with Julia after the procession for the Daughter of Sorrows. It was when Julia discovered the wedding of Alfredo. Oh. So he congratulated him. Alfredo has to create a scenario that is very hard. Would he choose what he'd like to do, or is he going to choose what he has to do? Okay, in the climax, it's really a battle of the in the minds of Alfredo. The following action goes like this. Julia did not want his knowledge of Esperanza to be honored by Alfredo. She said farewell. He came to Esperanza's Esperanza's house, and there's being said the last sentence. The denouement and the last part of the story, Alfredo was engaged to Esperanza. He was looking for a woman titled Brigida Samoy. After 8 years, a significant woman in the court for his defense, Santa Cruz, the birthplace of Julia, he came to the residence of Julia and discovered her there, still sleeping, and he knew he was like a dead star in his passion for Julia. It was not there. Okay, let's dig deeper upon the meaning or the context of the given story. But I believe you can really grasp or get the flow of the story when you read the whole thing in our book. So I am requiring you, and please may have time to read the whole story. Okay. So in the story, Alfredo struggles against society because, especially during the time of the story, he was afraid of the reaction of people around him. People often have attention to the community they relate to. They attempt to conform to their society's standards, traditions, and culture. Although conformity would sometimes force them to give a portion of themselves, an attitude, an impulse, or a choice. Okay, we are also like Alfredo. Like, for example, in your community, your family was being looked up to. When I say look up to, they respected your family. They are observing everything that you do. I hope that we have encountered that particular part of our life, right? When someone compared you to your parents, compared you to your siblings, something like that. That's why even though we want to sometimes explore life as at its fullest, so we can't do it because there are things that we need to conform. When we say conform, the things that we need to do, we need to follow, like rules and regulations. It's already embedded in our family. Okay. But of course, here in the province, okay, personally, as long as you're doing your best, I can say to myself, okay, as long as you're doing your best in your field, like what I have did a long time ago. I have excelled in my classes, something like that. So of course, your parents will respect you for if you want to explore things. But of course, I do not know what is the situation or setup of your families, of your own respective families. Okay. So deadlights symbolize current but hidden stuff. The relationship between Alfredo and Julia seemed to be genuine. So actually, Alfredo and Julia was the the first they are in a relationship. Okay, but as the moment passes by, the affection they had wasted and disappeared. Their affection became wasted and disappears like such a delusion dead star, reminiscent of the past that no longer exists. No, he doesn't find her to be distinct from that individual he considered her to be all these years because of lost youth. And his delusion, the illusion he harbored all these years isn't nothing but frozen trees, forever gone but emitting heat that appears to be genuine because of the range it has to move, even if the origin has wasted its brightness or disappeared. So the dedication of Esperanza to Alfredo also represents affection. Okay, so Esperanza was the second lady who appeared or to the life of Alfredo. But since she thinks more than real affection in the regenerative nature of the establishment, it is secure to tell that she is in the partnership due to moral obligation. Okay, as if we can see here that because she was the wife, she needs to care for the husband, something like that. So that's what I can see in this particular the second bullet. Okay. Also in the Bible it says that we are being admonished, especially those who are wife and husband. So wife, submit yourself to his husband, and the husband, love your wife. Okay, that is very true because in a relationship, it is not just one-sided love. Okay, so when you love, there should be mutual understanding with each other for your relationship, of course, to stay longer. Then the last part will be Paz Marquez Benitez short story Dead Stars passes on the subject of prohibited love. So this is all about the love story. It says prohibited love is just obvious and its banes frequent to an individual until he understands his deficiencies. The hidden topic is responsibility, as the story demonstrates that Alfredo is focused on marrying Esperanza and people anticipate that he should wed her. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, nowadays, okay, when I say nowadays, right now, so there is really a quick when it comes to relationship goals. There's a quick method or strategies. But during the old times, we have seen how difficult it is or how difficult it was for them to really marry someone, or to be married to someone, because it requires effort, it requires commitment, it requires treasure as well. But right now, if we compare the relationship before and right now, there is really a big difference. Okay? And I hope that we get the whole thing out of this story. So if you have questions and queries, so you read first the story, and I'm very sure that this story, the Dead Stars, will show us what what's the context of relationship before and today, if we can compare it. So I hope that we have gotten something for this video presentation, and I hope that you'll be back again sooner when I upload some of the video presentations that will supplement our discussion in this subject, 21st century literature from the Philippines. Okay, thank you so much for your time. God bless, and more power to everyone.